This was Andrei Aramnau's first session at the 2019 World Championships training hall. He had arrived later than anyone to Thailand, just 4 days before he competed, and we knew that his form had drastically improved since last year, where he ended up placing 9th with a 392 kilo total. And in part we knew this because of a couple of leaked videos, one of which was leaked just 2 days before he turned up, a 205 kilo block snatch, 9 kilos over the world record and 5 kilos over his own personal best, a world record that he set at 200 kilos at age 20 on his way to winning the 2008 Olympic Games. What we didn't know was that his total this year would have improved by 34 kilos over the previous World Championships. Interestingly, it was clear that Andrei Aramnau didn't actually want anyone really filming him. When he first turned up, me and Nat, who runs Hook Grip, asked him whether he was going to go heavy, and he said no, and he was kind of trying to push us out of the training hall to go and watch the 81 kilo men's session, which was happening at the same time. Now, I snuck back in after a few minutes to check what he was actually doing, which is why he was already up at 110 kilos, and I was really thankful that I did come back in time. The very next day, when he did this other really heavy session, he once again told us that he wasn't going to do anything particularly impressive, and yet we saw him snatch all the way up to 190 kilos, push press 190 and back squat 300. What blows my mind is just how close to each other both of these sessions were. This first one was in the evening, the second one was early the next morning, and so he ended up snatching 180 kilos 4 times within maybe a 14-hour window, and 190 kilos too. Now, as I post this, I have just arrived in Qatar to spend some time training and filming with Meza Hosona and Ilya Ilyin, so expect some more great videos from them to come. If you want to see more from Andrei Aramnau, I've uploaded a video of him push pressing up to 190 kilos, the heaviest push press from the training hall that year, and back squatting up to 300 kilos for a ridiculously fast single. That is all up on the Weightlifting House Patreon page, along with many other great videos, the link to which is all down below. Here is an excerpt from the book The Greatest Weightlifters of All Time, about the life of Andrei Aramnau. Now, there's a link in the description if you want to order it for Christmas. The Belarusian 105 Andrei Aramnau has remarked that most of his childhood friends are either locked up, drug addicts, or dead. He was very fortunate to have started weightlifting young, at just 10 years of age. If you've seen Aramnau lift, you'll appreciate that not only is he phenomenally strong, he also has gorgeous technique, one of the greatest ever. It's interesting, therefore, to hear that he initially had awful technique, and he got away with it by having brute strength. He claims that he eventually developed such good technique by making all of the possible mistakes. For the first 4 years of his training, Aramnau was obsessed with the gym, staying there for 6 hours a day until he was chucked out. The gym was a sanctuary to him. He could avoid the pressures of drugs and alcohol that his friends had already gotten involved with. Aramnau once told a crazy story that because of the nuclear accident in Chernobyl, he was born with 6 fingers on one hand, and so he had to go by himself to the hospital to have it cut off. Apparently, if he didn't do so, his coach wouldn't coach him anymore. Once Aramnau began competing, he broke the national records in every single weight class and age category that he contested in. Instead of breaking just 3 national records at each competition, he'd walk away with new records for the snatch, clean and jerk, and total across several different age categories. He was an absolute prodigy of the sport. Aramnau's training lifts between the ages of 19 and 21 can be compared to the top 3 or 4 lifters ever. He could, and this is truly remarkable, he could snatch 200 kilos from absolutely any position, whether it was the floor, the hang, or the blocks. He snatched 210 from the blocks, 5 kilos more than Ilya, and he doubled 205. He even said that he would have done more, but he thought that his elbow might snap. One of the most impressive feats is that he snatched 200 kilos for a triple, which makes his 200 kilo world record seem just a little bit more understandable. He also hang snatched 200 kilos for a triple and 205 for a double. Aramnau truly was one of the greatest snatchers ever, but he also cleaned 250 kilos from the blocks, and he clean and jerked 240 kilos. He front squatted 290 and back squatted 310 for a triple. He rack jerked and power jerked 260 kilos, 10 kilos more than Ilya has ever done, and 24 kilos over his own Olympic record. Lastly, and perhaps most ridiculously, he snatch grip power jerked 280 kilos, 14 kilos more than the heaviest clean and jerk of all time, and he did it age 20 as a heavy off-season 105. In 2007, aged 19, Andrei Aramnau appeared at the Junior World Championships. He was almost entirely unknown, and no one really gave him too much attention, but they really should have. Aramnau went 6 for 6, snatching 195 kilos, 4 kilos under the world record of 199, and 5 kilos over Dmitry Klokov. In the clean and jerk, Aramnau landed 220, 225, and 228 to win in devastating fashion, out-totaling Klokov by 12 kilos. Aramnau had, finally, made a name for himself. A year later, and aged just 20, the entire field was in better shape, and they would need to be if they were going to beat Aramnau. Looking back at the 2008 Olympics, Klokov once said that, honestly, no one thought much about Aramnau. Klokov was in much better shape than the year before, and believed that it would be more of a battle between himself, Marcin Delega, the current snatch world record holder, and Dmitry Lapikov, Klokov's enemy. But, as Klokov then recalled, after everyone had taken a few attempts in the snatch, Aramnau opened up a 193. Immediately, everyone else knew that they were now all fighting for the silver medal. Aramnau was just a class above the rest. He hit 197 for an Olympic record on his second attempt, then 200 for the world record on his third. In the clean and jerk, Aramnau did much of the same, lifting 225, 230, and then a new Olympic record of 236, setting a new world record total of 436, a 6 kilo increase on the previous world record. While Klokov had managed to total what Aramnau had won with the year before, 423 kilos, Aramnau had now hit a 436 kilo total, 13 kilos over Klokov and 16 over Marcin Delega. This total as a 105 lifter gave him a Sinclair of 475.61, the 33rd highest of all time. With the success of his world records and Olympic status having gone to his head, Aramnau was caught drink driving twice, receiving a delayed 2-year ban for the crime. He was able to take up a comfortable win over Klokov at the 2010 European Championships with a 195 snatch and a 225 clean and jerk. However, he tested positive for a synthetic cannabinoid, lost his title, and was then banned from competition for 6 months. Now, 9 years after that 2010 European Championships, Andrei Aramnau was set to compete again at the 2019 World Championships. His snatches from that competition were sensational, and I've included them at the end of this video.
Yeah, last year was sort of a return, kind of comeback type meet. He did snatch 182, but you really didn't know what you had, and now with another year of training, he's returning back to form. This is a guy who has snatched north of 200 kilos.
Looks pretty good today. That looked great. And he's posted some big lifts on the internet.
Yeah.
And look, you never know. It could be in his 53rd attempt. But
that was clearly his first.
Was great. That's got to be a 10 or 11 kilo improvement over last year.
Andrei Aramnau, Belarus, 198, if successful, will move into the lead and will have a new world record.
Andrei Aramnau really is one of the real legends of our sport, one of the greatest young champions that we have seen within the last couple of decades, up there along with guys like Simon Kalecki and Ilya Ilyin.
Look at that.
That was unbelievable.
Happy to see that for him. Oh, it's great. You know, had a rough stretch after those 2008 games of Beijing, and man, he is back. Wow.